Okay, quick budget bike update. It's broken. Running fine and just started misfiring. I say misfiring, missing. Felt like fuel starvation. As usual, the good old thing got me home. Been home about an hour now. So we're taking it apart and see if we can find what's wrong. Oh dear. As you can see, she's currently in many pieces. On first inspection, the fuel filter appeared to be dry and the pump wasn't working properly. I removed the pump and I made up this little setup down here. It's just fastened to the fuel tank, tap sat on prime so the vacuum isn't needed, and it feeds directly back into the top of the tank, and a couple of wires rather bodgily fastened connector and to my jump battery. Now when we fire this up, as you can hear, the pump is running absolutely lovely, pumping fuel at much higher volumes than this bike will ever need. The pressure switch works fine. As you can hear, as soon as I put my thumb over the end, the pump stops, release it, start pumping again. Now I left this setup running for a good 10 minutes and the pump didn't falter. It keeps the filter full at all times. Don't know if you can see on there. And just works. So, although feeling like a fuel problem, a fuel supply problem, there's obviously something a little bit deeper. Just for the sake of doing it, I did whip all the plugs out, just to see if it was any particular cylinder that was causing the problem. See if we can find one. There we go. There's one of the spark plugs. All nice and clean, working as they should, and more importantly, all looking very similar. So it's not one particular cylinder, it's just all four. So we started digging a little bit deeper, just for the sake of doing it. Check the primary and secondary resistance on the coils. Don't know what the figures are meant to be, but they were that close to each other, it was obvious they weren't a problem. Check the pickup resistance. Once again, don't know what the figures are, but just through experience it was perfectly acceptable. So I started digging. Now on Yamahas, especially this age, they have a multi-relay, which is this thing, and it operates various parts of the bike, including the fuel pump. Now the relay itself looks okay, but when I pulled the plug off and we took some tape off the harness, I found bodges. That's not actually the wire to the fuel pump, it is this wire. Well, this one, of course, let's have a look, is meant to be fastened on around here and isn't meant to be a brown wire at all. When we take the tape further back, it is blue with a white tracer. So we're going to unbodge a few bits, put it back together and see what happens. If need be, I will take the fuel pump wiring away from the multi-relay and fasten a separate one somewhere, just pick a switch live to supply it. But you know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully next time I'm filming something we're all back up and running. Either that or I'll be swerving a lot at the motorbike. Okay, she's all back together and up and running again, and just in time because it's starting to get dark out here. There she is, all back together again. This hopefully is the end of the problem. It might not be. That multi-relay may still need replacing. So tucked away under here somewhere. Hopefully the wiring repairs have solved the problem. There's a couple of other bits of corrosion bits that I cleaned up while I was in there. I'm hoping that relay doesn't need replacing because they're not a cheap item, and I dare say if it is knackered I'll be bypassing it with multiple single relays. But we'll see how it goes. The only way to find out if it's worked is to use it. So next time we go out for a ride, we'll find out what happens, and I'll let you know. One thing I cannot stress enough with cheap motorcycles is they're only cheap if you can fix them yourself. If you're paying somebody else to do all the repairs, because there are going to be some, it's an old motorcycle, it's got a few miles on the clock and it's not been particularly looked after that well, it's going to cost you a lot of money if you're paying people. For that little repair, you were to take that to your local bike shop. By the time they've diagnosed the problem and found the fault, popped it all back together, I wouldn't think you'd see much in the way of any change at all out of £200. And it might not be completely fixed yet. Anyway, she's back up and running. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.